Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name's Deshaun, and today I'm here to give you a very late review of Resident Evil 3, the remake. Not the original. I could remake. They're the same game, but the remake. Now, if you're wondering why it took me so long to come out with a review of this game, when it comes to video games, I tend to be a little bit more take my time in playing the games and when I'm going to come out with my review of the games, because frankly, you know, video games certain video games take more time to play, and certain video games I just want to enjoy more and like get all the things that I can get just so I can add more to the video as much as I possibly can. Not to mention Resident Evil 3, you know, the remake wasn't as was one of my anticipated games of this year, but it wasn't like the biggest game, most anticipated game. It was like, it was behind Cyberpunk, the Marvel game, and the Vampire Masquerade game. Like, those games are ahead of it to me. Those are the games where I'm like, I'm gonna buy day one, I'm gonna review it, you know, as soon as I possibly can. This game isn't that to me. But I still wanted to get it and buy it and pay for it. Then I saw, as you know, I don't know if Capcom was corresponding this with their with the recent release of the Resident Evil 8 trailer. Which, if you're wondering why I'm not reviewing, I'm waiting to review that with Seth. Seth was very thrilled about that trailer. Both of us were, and I'm going to wait to review it with him because he's really thrilled about the trailer. And I would hate to have to just make two videos when we could just do one and get it over with. But I recently bought Resident Evil 3. It was on sale, actually. That's what I was about to say, is Capcom. It seemed like Capcom was lining this up, and I'm playing it. And I haven't beaten the entirety of it yet, but I know where it's going. I've played the original Resident Evil 3. I know the story. And I've played enough that I feel like I can talk about the game itself and talk about how I feel about the game. Now, if you've been watching me long enough, you know that, if you've been watching this channel long enough, you know that if you go back far, and you know, I've been doing this channel for about 5 years now, maybe 4, and in the very beginning, one of the things I used to talk about when I talked about the video games was, I wish Capcom would just make remakes of Resident Evil, because I had seen, of the original Resident Evil games, because I had seen other people start to like do remakes, and I was like, yeah, I mean, a remake, and I was just like, they should do it. They should do a remake of the classic Resident Evil game. It's particularly Resident Evil 2, because Resident Evil 2 hasn't been touched since that time, and I was like, they should do a remake. And when the announcement of Resident Evil 2, the remake, came out, I was thrilled. Bought the game, had a blast with it. It was fun. It was basically Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 7 merged together. But the caveat is, you already know the outcome of the plot, and it's almost kind of and you already know the outcome, you already know the plot, and there's two different characters and two different ways to play it, which is why the actual playthrough for one character is shorter, because really, to get the true ending, to really beat the game, you have to play two different playthroughs, which altogether really is what's both together is a satisfying, you know, game. It's a satisfying, you know, time-consuming game. If you play them both, if you play all 4 of them, you will get your real money's worth. You have to play all 4 outcomes. Jill A, Leon B, Leon A, Jill B. You have to play all 4 to get your money's worth. But you know, that's just if you want to. Now, Resident Evil 3, so far from what I've seen of it, and this is just my personal opinion of it, the fun thing about this game is it's 2, and you can tell it doesn't look too dissimilar from 2. It's not like it's a huge graphical upgrade from 2. 2 already had beautiful, great graphics anyways, but 3 is just as good as, you know, 2 in terms of the way it looks, in terms of the mechanics of the game. It's pretty much the same. Maybe there's a little bit of different things here and there. The big difference is, there's 2 big differences actually. The big difference is the way that it's designed. I feel that like 3 was designed to maximize to maximize how quickly you can get done with things. Because 2 was fun, but 2 was a lot of running backwards and running in circles and over again, and you had to do so much just to get so other things. It was kind of which I enjoyed. It was a challenge about the game is sometimes you had to just really think about what you wanted to do because you couldn't get to certain places. 3 isn't easy, but I would say it's easier. I played it on normal mode. I always start playing on normal mode. And in the normal mode for 2, I played Leon A first. Obviously, Leon's my boy. I love Leon. I think he's badass. I think he's a pretty boy badass, and I think it's cool. But Leon's my boy, so I played with Leon first. And Leon A, think about it this way: to get the first couple pouches you get to add more stuff to your inventory, you have to go through hoops and whistles. I gotta go through freaking hoops and everything. I mean, you gotta go through all kinds of shit just to get it, man. Just to get the pouch. There's this whole thing in a locker room where you have to find, where for some weird reason the keys, someone took the keys off of the pad, and you have to go find the keys to put back on the pad to type in and to get there's all getting extra stuff is getting extra pouches is a journey on its own in that game. But in 3, it's not really like that. In 3, if you just go to the areas, if you just, play the game and do what you have to do, you will pretty much find everything you need to find. And it'll be right in front of you. It'll just be right in front of you. And it's a lot easier to get around. And I've noticed that 3 feels more designed for speedruns. I didn't notice it until I played through something, and then I was like, you know what? I want to do something different. I was like, hey, you know what? I thought I used up too much ammo. And because it's still a survival horror game at its core, underneath it all, it's still a survival horror game. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back, do it over again. I know what to do now. I can preserve more ammo. When I went back, I flew through it, and it felt like, it just dawned on me. I'm like, this game is specifically designed for speed runs. I mean, they even have a timer, which 2 has a timer too. But I was like, if you get the vibe that these games 2 and 3 are designed to be sped through, are designed to be maximized, get everything go, to go. And that's the big takeaway I have about 3. 3, it feels more energetic. It just feels like go. That's the best description I could say. It's 2 just without some of the headaches. Like I said, they minimized how much running around you have to do over and over again in a circle. Nemesis does show up, but he's not like that other guy in the black suit. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Is it Mr. X, I believe? I think his name is Mr. X, but he's not like Mr. X. Mr. X, you know how he would just show up and he would just follow you around. Nemesis isn't like that. Really, the only time Nemesis shows up is a cutscene, and you see it coming. He's not just randomly showing up. He's not just stalking you, and you're just he's not really like that. Nemesis, when he shows up, he's going into a cutscene, and like I said, it's a bit different there too. And you really play as Jill. I believe there's a part where you get to play as Carlos, but really through the majority of it, you're playing as Jill. And like I said, there's nothing to really spoil about the story. If you're a Resident Evil fan, you already know the story. You already know how all that concludes. But I just have to say, Resident Evil 3, really to me, it's slightly better than 2. Slightly better. It's not a massive leap. It's not a massive upgrade. It's not a massive overhaul. It's slightly better than 2. If the world, you feel like, and just from a byproduct of most of the game, a lot of the game taking place out in the open in the streets of Raccoon City, it does make the game feel a little bit bigger than 2 as well. Because 2, you were inside for the most part. Yes, there was a couple little dips where you had to go on the outside, but they were like little dips, and then bam, you're right back into a building. You were either in the police station. You're in the police station I'd say in 2, you're either in the police station or in the sewers for basically what, 90% of the game. And there's like a 10% time where you're up top, which is like the beginning of the game, and then a little bit in the middle where you go visit that one guy who's got the dead daughter, but he doesn't want to admit he's dead, who reappears in this game, by the way. Which I have to admit, that's the one cool thing about the game that I will admit I like, is that subconsciously while you're playing this game, you know in the back of your mind the events of the second game are happening almost at the same time. You know they're happening, and it's kind of fun to think about that. You even go to the same gun store eventually where Leon or Ada, depending on who you're playing. Oh, not Ada. Claire goes to. I'm thinking about Ada Wong. I'm thinking about the other girl. Or Claire, depending on who you're working with. You either one of them end up going there. So it's kind of nice going down that path. Now, when you do go there, it's pretty clear that Jill came there first and then Leon and them. Because by the time Leon and them got there, that little girl was a zombie. She was a zombie, and the guy was wily, and the guy was like, wily. By the time you got there, you knew who you were. The little girl was still screaming out, calling out daddy, so she was still not a zombie quite yet. So obviously the events that happened in 2 technically happened after. It's happening congruently, but you don't get there till after. But that's just like a side note, really. But honestly, this game is a lot of fun. Like literally, I haven't really played 2 in a while. But I had fun with the first 2. I will admit, the first 2 playthroughs on 2, I was like, okay, well, I had my fun, and I was kind of done with it. But this game has really reinvigorated my love for playing through this game. It's just a fun time. It's 2 slightly upgraded. It's sort of like New Vegas, if you want to be technical, but not even as that much better. It's just, like I said, it's a little bit sharper, it's a little bit faster, it keeps you going, it doesn't have you running around in circles as much. Things are where they need to be. You get things a lot easier in this game, at least as far as playing it on normal mode. I'm sure on hard mode, it probably feels like 2 on steroids. It probably just feels like 2. But on this one, like literally, like at one point, if you shoot Nemesis, the first time you can actually attack Nemesis, if you hit him with something like a grenade or something, he'll fall down on his knee and a care package will just drop in front of you. And at first I thought, oh, that's nifty. If you were able to hurt him, you get something, you get ammo or something. I was like, that's cool. But no, that isn't what it is. You get a freaking extender clip to your pistol, which I was like, well, fuck. I was like, damn, that's what you get for hitting him? Like the things of that nature, you get a lot. You get things of that nature, and like you just get things a lot easier. And like I said, you just get things a lot easier in the game. And that's about the extent of my thoughts on Resident Evil 3. It's fun. I'm having a good time with it. It doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's slightly better than 2. I give Resident Evil 3 an 8.5. I know I gave 2 like a 9 something, but that's because my expectations were so high for 2 and it met it. This one, my expectations weren't that high. We're about, we're okay, and it met it. I mean, it wasn't like something spectacular. Like it didn't take it to the next level, but it's a 9 to 8.5. Most of the time it's an 8.5, but sometimes it's really fun and it's a 9. So Resident Evil 3, have you played Resident Evil 3? What are your thoughts on Resident Evil 3? What are your thoughts on the idea of them remaking Resident Evil 4, by the way? I really don't think they need to, because Resident Evil 4 itself stands up. It's been on multiple platforms already. Unlike the other games, this game has literally been on multiple consoles. It's been on it's been on multiple next-gen consoles because it still works. It still works. It still stands up. It's still a great game. I play it to this day. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I don't think Resident Evil 4 needs to be remade, but, once they do it, I'll wait to see. Thank you guys for joining the Capcom Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.